sound for notifications when I say it.
Yep.
Great, well, let's get started. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining us. Sorry, as we got a little situated here. My name's Tim Cherney. I am joined by Luke Haas. We are here to talk a little bit about living at Loyola. And we're excited because many of you are residential students. Some of you are commuter students. And Luke and I are going to spend some time with you together, as well as some time separate, to tell you a little bit more about what it means to be here in community and live in community, whether or not you're living in the residence halls or are participating on campus as a commuter student. You are here, you're part of our community. So again, if we can get the PowerPoint up. Again, so I am an Associate Director of Student Life, specifically for community development and LGBTQPI+ initiatives. Everything that has to do with getting to know each other in the residence halls, everything that has to do with socializing and building on your skills and learning outside the classroom, as well as specifically supporting queer students on campus. That is what my role is. Luke, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone, and another welcome to you all to the Loyola community. My name is Luke Haas, and I'm one of the assistant directors in the Office of Student Engagement, particularly with leadership development programs, as well as commuter students. So as Tim mentioned, in a few minutes, we're going to sort of do a separate track. So if you're a commuter student in this session, you're going to sort of come on with me, and we're going to talk a little bit about commuter life here at Loyola.
Thanks, Luke. Also, my pronouns are he, him.
And my pronouns are also he, him.
Thank you. So a little bit about student life. Again, you'll have some more time to talk with Luke and hear more about student engagement for those of your commuters. For student life, I just want to give you kind of that brief understanding of who we are. We really oversee all of the residence halls on campus. We oversee that kind of residential education, the housing. We'll be helping you specifically today as we think about finding roommates and figuring out where you're going to live. But for us in student life, we provide the foundation for a safe and inclusive home where community engagement is not only supported, it's expected. When we think about being part of a Loyola community, that core value of community talks about not just the fact that you are here surrounded by people and getting to know others, but really you have a role and a responsibility to those around you. I always tell students, staff members, anybody who's thinking about coming at Loyola, that if you want to go somewhere where you can just kind of like keep your head down, I'm going to get my degree, and if you don't bother me, I won't bother you, you have chosen the wrong school, because we are all up in your business. We expect you to be involved with others. We expect you to know what's happening with those around you, to know that your actions affect others, their actions affect you, that who we are and who we become is dependent on the community that we are around. And we have a effect not only on our own success, but on the success of others. You can graduate Loyola with a great degree, get a great job, but if you leave here without having an understanding of the needs outside of yourself, the role you play in society, then we failed you. So as we think about student life, that is our key piece in thinking about that within a residence hall environment and what that learning looks like and what that living looks like. So we expect building meaningful relationships within an invested and engaged living environment. We expect that you will learn how to become conscientious, caring, and equity-minded leaders on campus and within your local communities, and then when you leave Loyola beyond. There's a poll in the stage. I'm just curious, how many of you have had a chance to visit any of the residence halls in person? I mean, again, for some of you, you'll be living in the halls, but all of you will be participating in Messina, and many of you will have classes within the residence hall. So I'm just curious if you can take that poll, and then our friend Scott will let us know what your responses are. I imagine with some of the COVID pieces and tours, some of you might have come here before the pandemic started, some of you might not have, but we want to do just kind of a quick introduction to the residence halls. And another place where it's important for all of you to know is student life. While we manage the residence halls, we also are on-call staff 24/7. So at any point on campus, if there's a campus emergency, if there's something that is needed from a student, typically you'll get a hold of somebody from student life. And so again, whether or not that's you're living in the residence halls, you got locked out of your room and you're talking to an RA at midnight, or you're a commuter student who is having a medical issue or having an emergency or has a question or concern, you'll likely get a hold of somebody from student life during that time. So some of the halls that I want you to be accustomed to. One of them is Hopkins Court. So it is just west of Loyola Bridge for anybody who had a chance to visit campus. This is the images there. So it's the entrance right off the bridge. There are 3 seminar classrooms in Hopkins Court. Most of them are on the 2nd floor. And so if you get something on your schedule for classes that says Hopkins Court, this is the building you're looking for. Right across the bridge, there's also Hopkins 222 is right where that last building in the bottom right-hand corner, the sign that says Black Lives Matter. That's the entrance to Hopkins Court. Campion Annex, again on the west side of campus. Campion Tower is a building full of apartments and has both first years as well as sophomores and some juniors who live in Campion. And the annex is right outside. Some of you may be having classes in there. Via Bowman, there are seminar rooms on the 2nd and 4th floors. Via Bowman is right next to the library. And so as you get on campus, you start getting acquainted. If you're not living in Bowman, or you're going to have to visit Bowman, but you know you have a class there, get towards the library and you should find Via Bowman. And then right next to Via Bowman is Butler and Hammerman Halls. And so there are seminar rooms on the 1st floor of each of these buildings. And so again, you may have one of your classes in one of these seminar rooms. And so as you get onto campus, as a commuter, as a residential student, just take a look around. We're now going to break off. And so for those of you who are living on campus this year, stick with me here. We're going to talk about finishing the housing process. And for any of our commuter students, you will be jumping off and joining Luke. And so that link should be in the chat very shortly. Give everybody a few seconds to jump off. Hey, my residential students, we will have an opportunity to ask hopefully some questions at the end. You can always submit them in. Those will get sent to me. But I just want to talk a little bit about living on campus. This is, for many, a brand new thing. Living in community, living with other people. I have lived with my partner and 3 cats, and that's pretty much who I have seen for the past year and a half. And so it's already a transition going to college when you are coming into a space with hundreds of other students and living with somebody in quarters and closer quarters. It's a completely different thing when we're coming out of a pandemic. So really thinking through what you're expecting from a rooming environment is going to be key as you enter into this year. So all of you at this point should have completed phase 1 of the housing application. This is where you would have given some of the personal information. You would have updated your chosen name. And so this is the name that not only we're going to use in student life, but it'll be used throughout campus. This is where you would have filled out this roommate questionnaire about the things that you're looking for in a roommate and how you exist in a room, as well as some of your preferences. And so I want to revisit this because there are some questions that I think may not be as clear from some of the videos, or may not be as clear as you just read the questions. We are all about discernment and decision-making here at Loyola. So I want you to take some time and revisit your roommate questionnaire. You can always go into the roommate's housing portal, click on this button where it says roommate questionnaire, and go ahead and edit anything you need to edit. I want you to be honest through this. One of the things that I always find from students who are filling out the roommate questionnaire is that some of them will go all the way straight down the middle. Am I messy? Am I neat? It's fine. I just match me up with somebody. It doesn't really matter. Noise, maybe, maybe not. I want to seem really easygoing And so I'm just going to kind of put myself straight in the middle. And I always hear this from people, like, I'm super chill. Just as long as we're both respectful of each other, it will be good. The problem is respect means different things. And I don't believe you all. I don't know you yet, but I love you already, and I don't believe you. We all have things that are important to us. We all have pet peeves. We all have things that are going to make our environment good or bad. And so please think about what those things are important to you. If you are somebody where you need to study in quiet and absolute quiet, say that. Let us match you with somebody who feels the same way, as opposed to going in trying to be easygoing, only to have a rooming environment that is completely not meeting your needs. Focus on the environment you want to create in your room. This is what these questions are based off of. Oftentimes people want to find roommates based off of how much they like them or how much they might get along as friends. And I'm here to tell you, sometimes good friends are bad roommates, and sometimes bad roommates are sometimes good friends aren't always good roommates, and sometimes good roommates aren't always good friends. My best friend Myra, I love her to death. I couldn't live with her. Because she falls asleep with the TV on like a monster. And I don't understand how she does it, but she has to watch Law and Order SVU to go to sleep every night. And I wake up in the middle of the night with boom, boom. And so I encourage you to focus on what the environment is, not the person. Focus on what you need in your space, not just the person you might be living with. Who are you today and who will you reasonably be in September? I heard earlier on Dr. Parker was saying about a clean slate, and that is so true in many ways. And I often see students, especially in living environments, who treat college like it's a New Year's resolution. Like, well, next year I'm going to be more studious. That is wonderful, and I love it. And I am somebody who has always said I'm going to be, this year I'm going to be neater. I'm going to go to bed earlier, get more sleep. I'm not going to stay up really late. Scrolling through my phone, and I'm going to keep my house cleaner. That is great, but it's a 39-year-old journey that I have still not mastered. So the chance that you are going to change your living style between now and September may not be realistic. So who will you reasonably be in September? And let us match you with somebody who might be on that same journey. And then finally, complete all questions no matter what. Sometimes we have students who come in who say, I'm not going to, I already know who I'm living with. I have my best friend from high school, so I'll just kind of fill this out willy-nilly, or maybe I will, kind of make some joke answers. The problem is that if your friend chooses not to come, or something changes, or something happens with housing, we're going to match you up based on what you answered. And we might be matching up with somebody that for you, it was kind of like a joke answer. And now they're your joke roommate. I always hear students talk about what if I get stuck with a horrible roommate? That is always the concern. What if I have a monster of a roommate? What if they're horrible? What if they're not respectful? What if? What I want you to think about is, what kind of roommate will you be? Again, you're all wonderful humans. You are all accepted to Loyola. I can't wait for you to be here, but some of you might be bad roommates. And so I want you to focus on, what kind of roommate will you be? Do you plan on having friends or guests in your room? Is this a social place where you want to have people in your environment, in your space? Or is your room your sanctuary? Is your room your place where you're going to go out and explore and meet people and have fun and be social, but your room is your place to recharge? Be very honest about that, so that you and your roommate have a similar understanding. How neat and clean do you keep your room? Think this through. Does everything have to have a place? This is a biggest issue we have when it comes to roommate conflicts, is based on cleanliness. Because I promise you, every single person thinks that they're clean. But what clean means to one person is not what it means to the other. I am somebody that I love to throw my shoes one place, my shirt goes the other when I come home from work, but my kitchen and my bathroom have to be spotless. And so for somebody who might keep things organized, but maybe they have never cleaned a toilet before, we would not get along. And so keeping that in mind. And again, just a little note, if you've never cleaned a toilet before, learn that before you come here, especially if you're living in an apartment. It is just very easy. It's all on the wrist. You just learn how to clean. Just please try to consider that before you get here. What kind of noise level do you prefer while you're sleeping and you're studying? Do you like to share things? Somebody need to ask you before they borrow stuff? Are your personal belongings something that are very critical and crucial to you? How close do you want to be with your roommate? Some of you want to live with somebody. Some of you want to find your soulmate. Be honest about that. Are you looking to find somebody who is going to be your best friend and always there? Or are you just looking for somebody that you live with and that maybe you are cordial to, but you have your own kind of social circles? Because there's nothing worse than going into it just expecting you're going to have a roommate and having somebody who's always at your hip, always with you. There are 3 key matching questions on that roommate questionnaire that I want to make sure that you are aware of. One of them was, would you prefer a substance-free roommate? I always like to explain this one because I think it throws people off, especially in the kind of that social likability. I want to, I don't want anybody to look at me and like, oh, you're substance-free and make assumptions, or say that you're not substance-free, make substance-free and make other assumptions. All this question is looking for is, do you prefer to have a substance-free roommate in your living environment so that your living environment is substance-free? You are not signing a contract. You're not saying you're never going to use alcohol or drugs ever in your life. You're just saying that in my space, I want to know that I'm going to have to worry about there being alcohol and drugs in the space. I want to make sure I'm not going to worry about my roommate coming back intoxicated or trashing the place. I just want to know I have somebody else who's on the same wavelength, that our space is not going to be the space that we're having alcohol and drugs or smoking or using tobacco, any of those cases. If you are, again, like it's not a contract, if you are somebody who's like, I might dabble in a hard seltzer, you want a substance-free roommate. I promise you, you want a substance-free roommate. If that is your mindset in this, we hear this from students all the time, that maybe that the lifestyle of the roommate, maybe the roommate is going out and maybe coming back and they're intoxicated. This is the first thing we'll look at is, did you ask for a substance-free roommate? Because that sounds like it's more of the vibe that you're looking for. Have you smoked in the past 30 days? Notice we do not ask you if you're a smoker. We don't care if you self-identify as a smoker. I only smoke when I go out. Just have you smoked in 30 days? Something else that we know has caused some issues in roommate conflicts before. And so keeping that in mind, answering that, we will be matching you based off of this answer. And then the last one, again, we're committed to providing a safe and more inclusive environment for LGBTQI plus community members. So you're going to see this question that you should have answered, which was, would you be welcoming and supportive to an LGBTQI plus roommate? We ask this because there are enough things that students need to worry about when you're coming into college. What I also know is that my queer siblings sometimes feel like, am I going to be accepted by my roommate? Is my roommate going to harm me? Is my roommate going to judge me? Is my roommate going to hurt me? These are thoughts that we just, if you are somebody that can already kind of promise, you don't need to worry about that with me. You're going to have a wonderful environment. I will be welcoming and supportive, that from day one, that person can enter into a space knowing I'm going to be affirmed and I'm going to be accepted and supported. If you're somebody that can do that, either because you're part of the community or you're an ally in the community, if you're somebody that can promise that welcoming inviting environment, please answer yes to that. If you don't know, if you're unsure, answer unsure. You'll notice in there that there was not an option for no. Nobody can be unwelcoming or unsupportive to somebody who's part of the queer community. As an institution that has gender identity and sexual identity as part of our non-discrimination clauses and our diversity statement, nobody can be unwelcoming. This is not a question about, do you want to live with somebody who is part of this community? It's just saying, I'm that person who can be welcoming and I can be supportive. These are some 3 key questions that we will match you at. So if we are matching you together, you'll have to answer the same on these for us to pair you up with each other, because we found that these are some pretty key pieces that can cause some roommate conflicts and cause a really unhealthy environment. For those of you who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, for my peers in the Alphabet Mafia, there's also a new option this year, all gender housing. And so we know that the binary gendered structure of our housing, the fact that students are housed based off of an M or F marker from your application, doesn't meet everybody's needs. And so we've specifically created a all gender housing option for LGBTQI plus, non-binary, gender fluid residential students and their allies, along with anybody who's questioned their gender identity, to be able to live in a queer affirming space. And it will allow you to make roommate pairs comprised of any gender. And so some people have missed this as we go through. It's a wonky question, and so our apologies for that, just how the system is set up. But this is the question that would get you more information. Roommate matching, Loyola's binary gendered roommate matching process meets my housing needs. If you answer no to that, It's going to take you to another page with an FAQ, a description of the community, the agreement that talks through, I want to live in an all-gender housing, I want to live in a queer affirming space. And so just know if you answer no, get you more information, you still have a chance to decide if you actually want to request it. And you'll have another option to say, yes, I want to request this. Then you'll get the agreement and you'll be able to sign the agreement. But if you're curious about this, I encourage you to answer no to this question, the roommate questionnaire. Again, if you decide to join all gender housing and you sign that agreement, in the search functionality, you'll only be visible to others who have also agreed to all gender housing. And so that won't be visible to everybody, it'll just be those who also agree to it. Additionally, if you're not able to find a roommate, we'll match you with somebody else who also has agreed to all gender housing. And then I also just want to note, sometimes it's a question that we get from students, is that this is not a floor or a designated building. It's not that this is an entire floor of all gender housing. Some people, that the idea of it being a floor is not a great environment. This is really just a queer affirming direct roommate environment. It's just you being able to be matched up with somebody else who also wants to be part of all gender housing, and then give your preferences if I want to live in a double or an apartment, and then we'll place you in different buildings. So please take some time and go through your roommate questionnaire. Take a look at what you wrote, reflect on some of the things, make any changes you need to make. You can really do that up until July 8th. But from now until July 8th is phase 2. It's finding roommates. It is that joyful time where we can help you find your friend, your roommate, your soulmate, or the person you live with. So in that poll, I know I was able to see the other poll responses earlier, but I want to see if you're able to still get to that poll. The next one is, do you already know who you want to live with this fall? And so again, we had some of those options. Yes, we knew each other before Loyola. About 17 people said that. Yes, we just met recently, 37.3%. Y'all just met each other. Good for you. I'm hoping either you matched through or you connected through other ways. No, but I'm hoping to find a roommate myself, about 15%. And then 37%, no, I'm going to let the system match me with somebody. Thanks everybody for answering that. It's fun to kind of watch how that shifts over the different orientation sessions. To give you a sense, if you're reading that and you're like, oh crap, everybody has roommates. What we end up finding is that it's actually only about 30% in the past couple of years who have requested a specific roommate. So keeping those kind of things in mind, it's more likely that people will go through the matching process. And so I'll be really excited to kind of see that as we go through in this next year. If that lines up, if that stays the same, or if it matches some of the percentages you've all given us already. But those are your options. You can search, and I'm going to teach you all those ways to kind of search through it, or you can trust the algorithm. So again, 30% of first-year students usually will request a specific roommate. The rest are matched by our system. And the thing that I want to note is that over the years, we've done assessment based off of were there roommate conflicts, were there issues in the room. And when we've gone back to this summer, we've gone back to this housing application, what we found is that there's been no major difference in terms of roommate conflicts. So we found that people who chose each other and those who were matched by our algorithm and matched by our software were just as likely to have roommate conflicts, because the issue is always going to be about communication, and it's always going to be about how you navigate conflict, and knowing that conflict is a normal and natural thing. So if you want to try your hand at matchmaking, what you want to do is by July 8th, you want to go into the RoomRez housing portal, you want to go into your housing application, and when you click on, it's really hard to see in the screen, but if you, that near towards the right, where it's going to say roommate matching, on the bottom right-hand side, you're going to see 3 links. One is going to be about searching by roommates, by profile, by characteristics, also a button that will say suggest roommates. And so what this is going to allow you to do is search, maybe the thing that's most important to you is sleep. And so this will allow you to kind of see how people answered that profile question and find others who answered it in a similar way. Or you can hit the suggest button. If you hit the suggest button, it's going to give you a percentage. It is going to say, yeah, here are some people who match high based off of your answers. With any of these pieces, you're going to see on the right-hand side, it is going to say add to group, send message, view profile. So you can view their profile, find out more about them, and you can send them a message. Please talk to the other person before you add them to a group. The way the system works, you can go in right now, and if I saw Luke and I read Luke's profile and Luke sounded like a good roommate, I'd say add Luke to group. Luke and I are living together. Awesome. The problem is Luke still needs to accept that he wants to live with me. And those are a lot of hard feelings, that if I add Luke to a group and then the last day he removes me and now I don't have the roommate when I was all excited I was going to be living with Luke, that can be really hard. And so make sure you talk to the person. Send them a message, communicate with them, see if they're going to be a good match so that by the time either of you are saying add to group, you know that you both are on the same page. You both are in agreement that you want to live together. Because if not, there's always a chance that person could remove. If you do talk to somebody and they ask you to live with them and you're unsure, have that conversation. Let them down easy. Talk through, hey, we knew each other from high school, but maybe, we'll be friends. Maybe we should just get our own roommates. We can hang out and then we'll double our friends because we'll be friends with your roommate, we'll be friends with my roommate, and we'll all be friends together, and that'll be great. If you think that's going to be a bad situation with the two of you living together, be honest with each other and be upfront. Every year, we have a few times where this happens, where somebody says, "Oh, Luke, I want to live with you," and it's like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great." And then I walk away and Luke's like, "I'm not living with him." And then he goes in the system and says, "No, I'm removed from that group. I have a different friend." And then what happens is that somebody calls our office, and they call our office and they're like, "Hey, I said I was going to live with Luke, and you all messed up because I'm not living with Luke, and my roommate's wrong." And then we have to say, "Luke didn't like you. Luke didn't want to live with you." And it's really awkward because we're a small school. You're going to see each other. So please don't do that to somebody, because it's also the odds we're going to put you on the same floor. And this is going to be really awkward. So talk to each other beforehand. If you know you want to live with somebody, talk to them, talk through what it means to live together, so that as you put each other into a group, you know that it's going to be agreed upon and mutual. If you don't want to try to match somebody, if you're that 30-some% who said, "No, just let the algorithm do it. Y'all match me up. I answered my questions. This is going to be the fun part of it. I don't want to have to go through messaging everybody. I look forward to having the joy of having a new friend out of my control and based off of the algorithm." The two things you want to make sure you do is you're going to see on the roommate groups page, you're going to see on the left-hand on the page, and I'm showing it on the left-hand side of my screen, is a checkbox that says, "If checked, you will display in the roommate search pages of the housing application. Unchecked to be removed from searches." And so if you uncheck that, it means that nobody's going to be able to see you, nobody's going to be able to send you a message, nobody's going to be able to view your profile, nobody's going to be able to put you into a group last minute. And so uncheck that. And then you also want to hit submit phase 2. So no matter what, by July 8th, make sure you hit submit phase 2 and make sure that you're in the roommate situation you want to be. Either you're in a group with somebody you've talked to, or you've unchecked that box saying, "Nope, I don't want to be searched. I just want to be matched by the algorithm." So again, that recap. If you want to search for roommates and be searched by others, make sure you check the box to share your profile. Check your emails regularly to check for notifications and messages. People might be sending you messages either in the system or through email, in your Loyola email, saying, "Hey, I saw your profile. I want to live with you. Let's chat. Let's talk." Make sure you're checking that regularly. Use these next 2 weeks to do that. And then on July 8th, just go in the system and verify that your roommate situation is what you want it to be. Either you're not matched with anybody and you get matched by our system, or you're paired with somebody and it's a person that you knew about and not just somebody who added you to a group. So as we wind down these last few minutes, I want to talk about some of the next steps. So as I said, from now until July 8th is when you are going to be finding your roommates and figuring out who you might be living with, or letting us know, "Nope, just match us." What's going to happen after we do all that is we're going to go through all of those matches. We're going to go through everybody who requested each other. We're going to start placing you into spaces. And by the last week of July, you should receive your housing assignment via your Loyola email address. Some things to keep in mind with that is that it will have any of your roommates, your direct roommate. If you're in an apartment, it will let you know who else is in the apartment. It's going to give you their email addresses, their phone numbers, ways to kind of reach them and get a hold of them. You'll know where you're living and what and who you're living with. You can visit our website to learn more about what to bring, what to leave at home. There are some things that are fire hazards, so just kind of make sure of that. We got a question that came in, so I'm going to answer right here because it's about roommate matching. For the housing application, when I try to search for the person I want a room with, it says no matches found, and theirs is the same. What should we do? It's a great question. If you are having any issues with the housing application, email studentlife@loyola.edu. What we'll be able to do is we'll be able to see if maybe there's an error in the system, if maybe your matching isn't matched up properly, and if it absolutely is somebody you want to live with, we can then go in and try to do that manually. So if you are going in the system and having a hard time trying to find somebody, and especially if it's saying the same thing, go ahead and send us an email, say, hey, I'm trying to find my friend, I'm trying to this person, CC them on that so we know that you both are connected, and then we'll be able to help you out. So again, that's going to be studentlife@loyola.edu. I'm going to go on, and I know we have some more questions coming in. But once you get your housing assignments, so again, end of last week of July, contact your new roommates, talk to them. Please, here's my social media warning. Focus on your future experience. You might find things that people have posted from the past. Ask them about it, but it's not who they might be in the future. And don't judge them. Judging's so much fun, but don't judge them. What we put on social media is not always a representation of who we are or who we're going to be. It also sometimes we just make jokes. My best friend Myra, love her to death. She at one point put a post and tagged me in it with a sonogram and said, "Congratulations, Daddy," at Tim Cherney. And it was hysterical, except I had spent years telling all my family and friends in Ohio that I was gay, and they were very confused. And so just know you might not be able to believe everything that's on there. If you have questions, again, you can email us, or you can check our website as well. But don't hesitate to email studentlife@loyola.edu, and we will get some answers to you as you go through this. We're not here with you in person, but we are definitely here to support you. As you get your housing assignments, you're also going to find out where you're living on campus. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of those options as we wrap up. You're going to see the other choice to do doubles or apartments. Our doubles are in via Bowman, Hopkins, Butler, or Hammerman. So that's, you're not able to select an actual building, but you are able to say whether you need a double or an apartment. Some notes, your first year is the only year you're ever going to be able to live in a double. And so keeping that in mind as you're moving forward in your career at Loyola, any other year you're going to be in an apartment or a suite. When people often ask, why should I like a double or an apartment, and what's going to be better and who does what, it depends on your style. I always say with a double, it's a layout here. Oftentimes the bathroom is going to be shared with another room. That's going to be in Bowman. You're going to have an individual single-use bathroom in the hallway in Hopkins, or you're going to have a group bathroom in Butler Hammerman, where you have multiple different stalls in one bathroom. If you are somebody that's a little bit shy, you're not really sure how you're going to meet people, you're a little nervous, I say do a double. You have more community lounges. There's no better way to meet somebody than sharing a bathroom with them. It's very intimate, very cozy. Chat away, stall to stall. If you're somebody who are looking more for a place where you can kind of cook and you can kind of have your own food and have your own meals, and that's something that's really important to you, an apartment layout may be better. I'm going to show you that as well. But if you're somebody who is looking to kind of be more in a community setting, your double are going to give you that option a little bit more. Again, you see these beds right here. I also would suggest, you kind of did like feet to feet on those. And I just like to go head to head. Just whisper a little sweet nothings to each other as you go to sleep. Great way to get to know people. Your typical apartment layout, this is a 2-bedroom over in Campion. And so you're going to see there are going to be 4 beds, 2 separate bedrooms. You have your own kitchen, you have your own bathroom. It looks luxurious, looks wonderful for people who are looking for more of like that kind of like family unit. It's great for that reason. But a couple caveats. I will tell you for me as a shy first-year student, 18-year-old at my alma mater at John Carroll, there's no way I would have gone knocking on somebody's apartment door and saying, "Hi, you want to hang out?" I need a community space. I needed places to meet people to get me out of my shell. And so just kind of keeping that in mind as you're looking for what space you think might be best for your living environment. The other piece of the kitchen is great, but you have to clean that kitchen. The internal bathroom's great. You have to clean that bathroom. And it's not just that you need to clean it. You need to trust that the other 3 to 5 people you're living with also know how to clean. And so if you do choose an apartment, please make sure you're ready to have those conversations. You might need to teach people how to clean spaces. Be mindful that what is clean to your family might not be clean to another person's family. And what we think is clean is all subjective. And so really making sure that you're talking with each other. One of the polls in there, I know we had some responses. Have you ever shared a bedroom with someone else? Let me just see those responses really quickly. 36% of people said with a family member, 3% said yes at school. A good majority said, I've had sleepovers, so I've shared a room. I love the 3 people, the 1.5% who said nope, and I'm not looking forward to it. Thank you for your honesty. It is weird and different to share a bedroom with somebody. You are sharing an intimate space. You are sharing a bathroom and sharing a kitchen. And there's a lot that you need to kind of go into it. So just keeping that in mind, this is going to be a new experience. Being ready to compromise and willing to navigate what it means to live in an environment with somebody else. And the biggest piece is that what you do affects others and what they do affects you. So we talked about some of this, some things that I want to just kind of know what we can expect in your living environment. Again, the majority of incoming students have never shared a room. And from what you all shared, if you have, it's been with a family member. And I promise you, the way you can talk to your brother, sister, sibling is very different than how you might be able to feel like you talk to a new peer. And so your communication style is going to change and be different. You and your roommates don't have to be best friends. You can be, but you don't have to be. You just have to be able to live together. You will have to make compromises in your living space. Your roommate will be just as nervous as you are. You are all incredibly different and incredibly unique. The one thing you have in common is that you're just as nervous. You might be excited to come to Loyola, and you're also nervous. You might be scared, and you're nervous too. Everybody's a little bit nervous about this, and so lean into that. As Loyola students, you and your roommate share the same rights and responsibilities. It doesn't matter who moved in first, who lives closer, who lives further away. You all have the same rights and responsibilities. And so if you're having a conflict, we're going to help you work through that. That's what our staff is here for. That's what RAs are there for. The GRCs are there for. We're here to support you in it. We're not going to arbitrate. We're not going to decide for you. We're not going to say, yes, you are a good roommate and you are a bad roommate. We're going to help you talk through that. You both have the same rights and responsibilities. Your roommate will be different from you and your friends from home, and that is okay. That is the glorious bit about coming to college. You are going to meet new people. Some of your friends from high school might not have been that great in the first place, but you're going to meet new people, and they're going to be different. So lean into that and be excited for that. This is your home, and the same way that I keep saying that you have responsibilities to others, the same way that I say that your actions affect others, what I need you to know is this is your home, and home means very different things to very different people. Home may not be a positive word. When I say home, it's a place where you can kind of let down your guard. You can breathe. You can relax. You can take down the armor a little bit. This is your home, and we will do whatever we can to ensure that this is a place where you can learn, grow, and thrive. And so if you need something, please come to us. And as I mentioned before, I want you to focus on what steps you can take to making your living space home for your roommate. If you are focusing on your roommate and they're focusing on you, you're going to have a good environment. If you're focusing on your needs and what's important, and your roommate's doing that and the same thing, you're going to be at conflict very often. Because it's always going to be about what I need in this moment. And what I want you to think about is what is needed from your community. How can I make this a good experience for my roommate? We got questions, and I know we only have a few more minutes. So what I do want to say is you can always reach out to studentlife@lo.edu. You can always reach out to Tim Cherney, especially if you have questions about all gender housing, if you have questions about maybe some other options other than all gender housing. If you're a part of the Alphabet Mafia, if you're a part of the queer community, and you have concerns and questions, please, that is what my role is on this campus. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. We got some questions. How many people can be in a group? For me, I want to go in an apartment. So obviously there'll be more than just one. Yes, you can only select one roommate. So we allow you to match up to direct roommates, and then we'll use your housing profiles to find out who's going to be the other person in the room. And so the same thing is true if you end up being in a double and be a bowman. You have be able to say who your direct roommate is. We'll match you with your suite mate, the person who shares the bathroom with you. And so just kind of keep that in mind. So yeah, you can only choose your direct roommates. There's going to be some portion of matching, even if you choose an apartment. We got some questions around it's saying that there's no matches found. So we'll look into that on our end, but certainly you can send an email to us with the names of the people you're trying to match. Is there any way we can request what building we want for housing? No. You can select double or apartment. If you select an apartment and we have enough apartments available, you can expect you'll be in Campion. We can never guarantee that we're going to be able to get your preference, because if all of you say you want to live in apartments, at some point we're going to run out of apartments. And so keeping that in mind, are the residence halls co-ed and which are not? So all of the rooms are going to be matched, again, based off of that binary matching system. Not always the greatest, but your roommate is going to be based off of what gender marker is on your application, unless you choose and agree to all gender housing. And then everything else is usually based off of by room or floor. So in Thea Bowman, the room, the suites next to you, a completely different bathroom, that might be somebody who has identified with a different gender. If you live in Butler or Harriman, it's usually by floor. And if you live in Hopkins, it's usually going to be like groups of room kind of near each other. They're going to be based off of gender markers on the application. And then camping is going to be by apartment. So all the people in the same apartment are going to have the same gender marker. The people next door may have a different gender. How does housing work for honor students? You get housed, honor students. We know the honors program usually works with our office. They usually, similar to the Nation Scholars Program, if anybody's part of that or applying for that, usually those programs ask that those students house near each other. And so sometimes we'll put those students in the same building. But there's nothing else you need to do for that. If you have an interest in living with an honor student and you know somebody else that's in the honors program, certainly you can request them. Sometimes people really want that, sometimes they don't. Would you recommend to have a roommate with a different major? I found one with the same and we clicked, but I've heard mixed opinions. I would love to know those opinions. I will tell you, in my 15 years of working here, I have never had somebody say, I don't get along with this person because we're the same major or we're different majors. I think part of the question might be kind of how you approach that, what that means for your living environment, and thinking through, you might have some of the same classes, and that can be great because you're able to study together. It also can mean that you're seeing each other a lot. And so I think it's more about, do you have the same classes more so than the same major? But that built-in study, that'd be great. So keep that in mind. How's housing work? Are candles allowed in the rooms? No, no flames. So I mentioned earlier things you can bring and things that you should leave at home. So again, I said that really quickly. Are candles allowed in the rooms? There are multiple things that are not allowed. And so if you go onto our website, if you go on the Student Conduct's website and look for the community standards, it'll give you a list of the things that you're allowed to have in the rooms and things you're not allowed to have in the rooms. So again, you cannot have candles. You'll notice that you can't, you can't build bars. You can't have recreational poles. You'll see that in the system. You can only have freshwater fish that are not piranhas, because somebody tried to bring a piranha one time. And so you'll see many things that are spelled out there. So definitely take a look at that before you go out and buy your piranha. Y'all, thank you for spending time with me. I wish I could see you. I look forward to meeting you all as you come onto campus. It has been lonely and weird not having students here as much as we have been able to in the past. I want to remind you that the next session starts at 4:35 back here on the stage. I want to appreciate you all for letting me go a little bit longer in this first time I'm running through this and be able to answer some of your questions. But if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to email studentlife@loyola.edu. You can also, if you have any questions specifically about what it means to be queer on this campus and what it means in the housing, and you have questions about your housing situation, do not hesitate to reach out to me, tdcherney@loyola.edu. Have a great day. Thank you all.